last week in Pleasant Valley. The number 8 Keelan Messick gets his first world distributing hole shot, and then Colton Bastiati goes down in a pile. Epstein was the man. 3, 4, 5 big passes and takes the checkered flag. Alessi out front early in the second moto, but then Epstein goes to work. He gets by the Odler, and then he takes care of the Frenchman, and then he finds Alessi out in the rough stuff. The clean sweep for the 108, and he's on top of the box. Welcome, race fans, to round 8 of the 2017 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. This week, the famous Riverglade MX Park just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick. And today's MX1 racing will be brought to you by Motovan.com. Mark Travers and Brian Coster in the booth as we see the MX1 pilots right now picking their gate with Christophe Purcell on pole.
2 in from the doghouse. Alessi gets the next gate pick, and there is the Nut Up Industries Kawasaki of Dylan Epstein, who's been super fast this year. And there's Colton Bastiati, 4-time Canadian champ, getting his pick.
Right, let's get caught up in the points in the MX1 class. Have a look at Purcell. At the end of the last round, Brian, he got docked 5 positions for not bringing his bike to the impound. He is now 19 points behind Gerke. Another note, Nathan Bless, who is sitting in 10th in points, had a huge crash at qualifying this morning, Brian. He will not be racing today.
Yeah, and it was an ugly crash right at the spectator jumps off that second one, got tangled up with a couple other riders vying for fast time and landed on his head pretty good, so a bit of a concussion black eye for him. See the riders and mechanics getting their little areas prepped for the big show, Travs, and check out the overview. Got that red maritime soil, a lot of rich black topsoil, as well as they meander through the trees, big valleys, huge floating jumps, and down to the bottom of the screen shortly, we're gonna see that uber fast GP section. The first turn goes way down that straightaway, and then they drag race back up that wall hit jump, and they get going faster than the cars on the highway there.
An absolutely beautiful facility and 40 years of racing on this track, so that's a great anniversary to be celebrating today. MX1 pilots going out onto parade. There's the number 6 of Tyler Medallia, and here comes the number 10 of 4-time Canadian champ called Fayot. Welcome back to the 2017 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. This is the Riverglade MX Park just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick, and that is the lovely Rockstar L bringing that Moto 1 board across. Mark Travers and Brian Coster in the booth as we see the lovely Rockstar Amber and Julia coming out in those brand new unis fabs. Those are the Rockstar onesies. It's too bad Paul Kingsley didn't have one of those. It could have been a trio. This first MX1 Moto will be brought to you by RoyalDistributing.com, Canada's power sports leader.
Man, Travs, I would pay to see Kinger in one of those onesies as we see the lovely Amber with the 30-second board up. Kinger's got that spy cam / watch to document all the time, and Amber goes to 5.
Focusing back on the Arnold Hoare Memorial start here at the Riverglade Park. MX1 pilots focus on the gate, and the gate is down, Brian. Coming to that first corner, who's going to get that Royal Distributing hole shot?
Check out the jump by the number 5, Mike Alessi, Travs, with a monstrous hole shot there. Just times it perfectly, and he rockets that 450 KX right out for the Royal Distributing shot.
Well, it just goes to show you how important the start is, Brian, because you don't want to get mired up as they go into that GP section. It's so fast, tons of roost wailing at you. Alessi launched himself down into the Motovon corner, and who have we got in second place? Is that the number 6? Yes, it is. The Huber Motorsports rider, that's Tyler Medallia, and here comes Dirk.
Dirk makes a quick move on the 111 of Chisholm. Colton Bastiati is right there as well on the number 10. Go for Dunes Fox Honda, but Tyler Medallia, he is a local hero here, sitting in second. He did really well last weekend in Halifax, and a ton of fans out here. We see a battle with Purcell and Fayot.
Christophe Purcell on that factory Husqvarna. The French rider goes inside and basically parks Bastiati out to the wide line as we focus back on the Catapult, one of the most famous jumps at this track or anywhere in Canada for that matter, Brian. Now Purcell on the over-under, working his way up to the number 111 of Kyle Chisholm.
Yeah, years ago, Dusty Platt, one of the stars of our sport and a previous champion, was the only rider jumping that. Hence the coined phrase Catapult. But check out the number 10. Fayot is fighting with the Frenchman, showing him a wheel.
Bastiati looking to go inside, getting some traction where nobody else is now. Oh my goodness, Purcell pushes him way off the track, Brian, and Clayson gets on the inside and makes a pass.
So Fayot gets bumped, and the Redemption Racing GP Bikes 450 KTM capitalizes to the slow-mo on the Chad cam. Check out the monstrous hole shot. There's Medallia just drifting through with his teammates, and the rest of the field. And you can see Fayot, it's a fair ways back, so he made up some moves in that first and second turn.
Clayson with a dynamite start, but here comes the French rider Purcell on that factory Husqvarna backed by Rockstar. Look at how aggressive he is, Brian. Wow, tenacious. I haven't seen that much aggression from him in quite a while.
Well, the GP rider makes the pass on the outside of the GP section. See that bike just handling the braking bumps very well. Over the wall hit jump. The number 2 of Matt Gerke, the Gerkman, on the Rockstar Yamaha, makes a play on Tyler Medallia. Medallia fights back on that Moto Van Honda, the all-black white, taking the inside line through the birch trees, Travs, but it's Gerke with the advantage.
Gerke was so aggressive coming down into that Moto Van corner, then Tyler got on the binders, but Gerke was carrying way too much speed to the number 5 Monster Energy Alpha Kawasaki, Alessi out front, then Gerke, then Tyler Medallia, and here comes Purcell on that wide line, fabulous speed.
They come up through this section. There's an inside and an outside line down this FXR chute. Down in the valley, they pop up to Earl's Tavern. There's Fasciotti. Look how far back he's been pushed. So he had a problem those last couple laps. And now Purcell is starting to pressure the number 6 of Tyler Medallia. Into the GP Bowl they go.
So great to watch the different styles. Medallia like a bulldog on the bite. He is so aggressive, and yet the finesse of the 377 of Purcell. Boy, did he take that corner nice on that midline and then got on the gas.
Great defense for Tyler right there on the number 6. Killers Fine Foods helping out that team. They've got Royal Distributing and the Huber Motorsports team to be exact, but on the inside, and Tyler fights right back. What an excellent battle. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Tyler Medallia. This whole season, he's been a strong rider. Seems to fit the Honda well.
This track is super slippery, Brian, and not as rough as we'd seen it in the past. And what a line on the inside. That's the same one that Purcell took. Fasciotti looking really good as now he gains back some ground and gets the pass made on the 7 of Clayson.
Well, Fasciotti ate a lot of roost there behind Clayson for quite a while, so he's going to be relieved right now. We haven't really talked a whole lot about how punishing the roost is on this Moncton track. It's just like getting peppered with a paintball gun, and these guys are really bruised up hard around their chest protector and on the forearms after this day.
The crews brought in a lot of wood chips, Brian, mixing it in, trying to keep the moisture on the track. That's the one thing about this track. They had to put a lot of water on top to keep the dust down, as we see the number 5 of Mike Alessi through that GP section, really flat, almost as fast as the bikes can go. Oh, and he skates off the side just a little bit, Brian, and here comes Gerke hitting that wall hit.
Oh man, and they both soak up the wall hit. Gerke's got to be cautious because Alessi, and he doubles down. So doubling into the Motovan corner with a whole bunch of throttle is two-time Canadian champ Matt Gerke on that Rockstar Yamaha. And getting back to that Yamaha team, they put together such a good crew. Steve Sims managing under the tutelage of team owner Andre Lauren, and they've got some great results this year.
They sure do, and right now their rider, the number 2 Matt Gerke, has the red plate and is leading the points in this class, as we see the number 377 of Christophe Purcell in the attack mode, working up on the number 5 of Mike Alessi. Now Mike has been leading and looking fast, Brian, but looks like he's skating off on sides. He just doesn't look in total control of the motorcycle today.
He's letting it hang out, and this surface is slippery, and there is a lot of chop that'll bounce you around and ricochet you this way and that. So Alessi, we've seen him lead a lot of moto straps into that 20-25 minute mark and then just get passed by a couple guys. So Alessi did win at Gopher Dunes, and he's had a lot of pressure on him, it seems, in every moto this 2017 season.
Let's talk about Purcell, the 377 off the top. We talked about the docking from last week at round 7. He did not bring his bike to the podium. It was brought there by head referee Paul Kingsley, and at the end of the day, it's mandatory for the riders to do that. He was docked 5 positions, and that was a big hit in terms of the championship points.
Yeah, well, he could have been DQ'd. The rider has to bring it to the podium, the top 3 riders, in case there's a mechanic touching the bike and fiddles with it, something in the rules or traction control or whatnot. So Paul Kingsley gave him a 5-position penalty, which was fair, I think, as the battle for second rages on through the mechanics area.
The reason he did that, Brian, was because Purcell was violently ill and couldn't make it to the podium, and I think that's what he took into consideration as they get into the GP section. Purcell looks fantastic today on this very fast, smooth, slippery track. Does he have him on the inside? Mikey having some issues on the wide side to the wall hit. Oh my goodness, what a pass. Unless he didn't launch off of that wall hit. Just conceded second place.
And you can see Purcell doubling down into the Motovan as well, carrying momentum. A very technical part of the track. You land in a lot of bumps and you got to get on the brakes hard. So what a pass for Christophe Purcell. Here it is, and It's like Alessi has a little moment there. He's got to get the front end over a hole. So I think Mike got on a bad line, and Porcel just got the traction down as they come up to this wall hit. They both check up a bit, but it is all Porcel into the motorvan corner.
Back to a pair of pillar sausage. Honda's the number 6 of Tyler Medaglia. They call him the homeboy. He's a East Coast native now, married to Heidi Cook, and they live in Nova Scotia. And the 111 of Kyle Chisholm, who's a sand specialist from Florida, and they just got their last lap flag, Brian.
Chisholm also a MX2 champion in Canada on the East Coast, so he's got some bad skills.
And of course, Tyler Medaglia, a 2-time MX2 champion in this country. So some great talent up here in the MX1 class. As you see, our leader, oh my goodness, is Gorky riding that Yamaha gorgeous today with that red plate in the number 2, leading the points in this class, Brian. It's interesting because Gorky doesn't have as many moto wins and overalls as everybody else, but it's been super consistent.
Oh man, you see Girk land on the brakes there, just riding incredibly well this year. He is just at one with this Yamaha Rockstar 450, and what a win for Matt Gerke. Looking back to see the gap, but there's no one there. Nice ride for Gerks to the Yamaha leaderboard. Porcel from Marseille, France, second. Then it's Alessi. Medaglia betters his teammate Chisholm. Fat Yotes 10th. Dylan Epstein quiet in 7th. Then it's Meston, Wetland, and Clayson.
It took you a long time to get around Alessi, but capitalize on those mistakes. That's what you're good at.
Yeah, it was hard to pass, so I started trying to find different lines, just little ones that you could maybe make the pass and then hope they make a mistake, and it worked out good. So yeah, that's what I was doing, just try to be smart out there. I was using my brain, and it worked.
Third place, first MX1 moto, the 800 of Mike Alessi, in fine form out there, Mikey. You look fantastic. A couple of issues coming out of that GP section, but got to be satisfied with that first moto.
Yeah, it was a good moto. Got a great start. Just want to thank my mechanic Frenchie, C4MX, Dunlop Tires, get me out the start. A great hole shot, and Monster Energy Alpine Star Kawasaki. Looking forward to the second moto. Got a little bit tight, arm pump, about 22 minutes, and after that was all she wrote. Gerke and Porcel are riding good, so give it up to them. Get ready for the second moto, ready to come out and get another hole shot.
Nice job down in the trenches, T. How about Porcel? Little hot and sweaty in that little tattoo. I'm back. He sure is.
Welcome back to the Riverglade MX Park just outside of Moncton, New Brunswick. The 2017 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals. Mark Travers and the Brian Costner in the booth with the lovely Rockstar L. Boy, she does a great job of bringing that Moto 2 board across. And here comes the stunning Rockstar Julia. And what a stance, fabulous. She comes out with that 30 board. This second MX1 Moto will be brought to you by Honda. Be a daredevil and get your red wings. You know, Colton Fasciati loves riding red, Fabs.
Well, he's earned his ride there on the Honda program. Derek Schuster, the team manager, has been instrumental in putting together a fine Honda team. His mechanic Justin always there for Colt. We'll see what he can do in this moto. 6 in the first one, 5 is up, Travs, and as soon as we hear those RPMs go up, there it is. You know it's sideways.
Focusing down on the gate, coming to that first corner. Who's going to get that road? Distributing hole shot. Alessi in the first one, and it looks like Mike Alessi in the second one as we go on board with Jean-Christophe Bouillot and the Drift Helmet Cam.
Well, the Motovan Black Rider number 29 is in the thick of things, and Roost is punishing. He is getting pummeled out there mid-pack.
You talked about the number 108 of Dylan Epstein not having a great first moto, but here he is in second place. Mike Alessi is unbelievable with starts. I mean, he used to have Hole Shot Master on his butt patch, but he is just taking care of the business.
Did you see him jump out of that Motovan bowl there? He just caught a kicker on the inside or a lip and just launched it, but Epstein, low and flow, is keeping him busy right now, trying to hold on to that lead.
A couple of amazing hip jumps on the inside, Brian, trying to slow them down, working riders on the outside, but they're starting to get broken down. So there are kind of neat options as they hop over them and into those little ruts coming through this section right here, over the catapult, into that left-hander, and then down into the valley. Oh, I love the speeds they carry through here. Up to the bus jump, Brian.
Girk is lurking back in third, but it is Epstein powering through the FX4 corner. Trav's elbows up as they dive down into Earl's Tavern. Look at Alessi. He's got good defense through the Cowie section, using up all the track, cutting right across. Epstein's got some work ahead of him. He's going to get by Mike here.
A very fast track today, Brian. Not nearly as rough as we've seen it before. A lot of times they've had those big whale lip ruts in the corners, but they've had a drought here if you look at the big pond in the middle.
Yeah.
So all the water right now is to keep the surface moist, and I think that's created an ultra-fast track.
That's a good point, Travs. The 108 now dealing with that roost through the orchard, trying to keep on alternate lines. The drift action cam picks them up, and a nice whipper for the 108 of Epstein. He's having fun into the birches. They go as they merge through the mechanics area and back onto that start chute down the GP section.
Look at how fast they come down the GP section, Brian. Alessi on the inside, and Epstein using that wide line. Is he going to cut back on the inside? Oh, great defense for Mikey.
Well, Epstein's the king of that cut across move, but Alessi wise to it, shuts the door. There's no way Mikey is going to let up as they dive down into the moto van corner, not doubling in. Epstein's got a fast line on there. Look at Epstein, wheelies up and actually jumps up and lands beside Mike and goes wide. And is he going to do the cut across now? Yes, Alessi goes outside. He cuts back inside. The pass is made, Trav.
Oh, no contact, Brian.
Alessi aggressive, and just they vie for that line, and Epstein is down in a heap, and he is limping, holding that leg immediately.
That looked like a pure racing incident to me, guys, because Alessi was cutting back to the inside, both coming in the skid corner. Let's go back to a Chad Cam replay of the Triple Crown Royal Distributing Whole Shot from Mikey. He wheelies over the line. Unbelievable. No one was touching him on the start. And then here comes that crash sequence with the pass, Brian.
It's the crisscross move right there by Epstein as Alessi goes wide, and then they're racing for the same line, and collision. Boom, done, just like that. Alessi stays in the lead.
Well, there's no question that Alessi was super aggressive vying for that line, Brian. I mean, they were both going in. There was definitely some contact, so a difficult situation for Epstein.
But the 108, I think, was the faster, aggressive rider. He was all over Alessi, but Alessi is wise to those cut-under moves, and that's a racing incident right there. Maybe from another angle, we get a different perspective, and there is the likable young Californian from Thousand Oaks, but visibly shaken with mechanic Pat O'Connor.
Right, we see the 377 had gotten by the 111 of Kyle Chisholm. Now he's made it up on the number 2 of Matt Gerke. Now Purcell has to get up into Gerke's grill and make some things happen in his final few motos of the season if he wants to win this championship.
And it looks like he's trying to do just that, going way wide, cuts under, and pulls an Epstein pass right there. The old cut across. As they come up to this wall hit, he jumps way further than Gerke there, Travis.
Gerke scrubbed and Purcell launched. So what's interesting about that pass to me is the timing that Purcell and you talked about Epstein when they use coming into those corners and when to get on the brakes and when to fire up that throttle and get by.
Man, it is a game of milliseconds and millimeters. Mike Alessi on that Alpine Star Monster Energy Kawasaki leading the charge, and it's that factory Rockstar Husqvarna. But check out Kyle Chisholm, rock solid right there with teammate Tyler Medaglia. And then it's the number 10 of Fasciati, who's been under the weather these last few weekends.
Guys, here's that pass again. We talk about the timing for Purcell, right on the binders and then heavy on the gas, brushing Gerke wide. Gerke had nothing he could do there.
Gerke had to check up, and that's the passes we've seen Epstein lay on the field all year long. So Gerke checks up, or that would have been a collision, and you better stay up than both go down in a heap.
Purcell now has closed the gap on the number 5 of Mike Alessi, and I think the thing that you see on fast tracks like this is you're seeing more of those undercut type passes because the track's not super rough, so they're not using the roughness of the track to make those passes happen.
It's the same section,
yes.
Same move exactly that he used to pass the Yerkman, and now up to the big wall hit. Alessi over jumps to maintain the lead, gets around the lapper. Alessi's got some fire left inside, boy.
What a great comebacker that was, Brian, and you're right, totally over jumped that wall hit, and it gained him a second and a half easy. But Mikey's leaving the door open in too many places, and there it is again, giving that inside away to Purcell, who is going to take advantage of every one of those situations.
Well, that's the same spot where Alessi had to deal with the 108 of Epstein. This time he concedes the position and leaves all that room for Purcell.
So fast, these 450s on this track. Lap times just under 2 minutes. But boy, oh boy, with the speeds that we're seeing, and again, there's that catapult. Okay, here's that pass again with the undercut, Brian. Alessi left the door open there for Epstein, and he gave it to Purcell. And here's that jump you were talking about.
Oh, man, Mike just hits it full OJ, flat lands it, and just stays in the lead. But Purcell, persistent, makes it happen. I don't think Purcell maybe saw where Alessi took out or where he had that collision with the 108er. He might have thought twice about that outside pass.
Well, Alessi was far less aggressive that time in trying to get back into that line. There was no doubt about it. Maybe that contact wasn't great with the number 108 of Dylan Epstein. Now Mikey using that inside line again, and Gerke with the cutback. A little bit of contact. Mikey almost off the track as they come up to the wall hit again with that big launcher.
Well, Mikey doesn't have a huge stature, but boy, is he strong to hold on to this 450. Gerke a lot taller and lankier, as well as Porcel.
Wow.
I like the alternate line for Gerke. He just cut right through those ruts, making his own way, and better on the brakes into the perches and takes that pass away. A pretty clean move on Alessi.
Think about the experience that Mike Alessi has in motocross racing, where he's been, where he's raced, and the number 2 of Matt Gerke. There is a lot of talent and a lot of experience out on the track as we get to the number 8 of Keelan Meston on the wide line, and here comes the 262 Suzuki of Jesse Wetland. Wow, he looked good on the inside. There are a couple of ruts developing down in that motorvan corner that are working.
Remember Wetland years ago in the MX2 trans riding on that MX101 team, and now on a private Suzuki, the only Suzuki in the field. And that bike is stone stock, and it's got a lot of hours on it, so she's a little clapped out.
We saw the 111 Kyle Chisholm and his teammate, the number 6 of Tyler Medalli, who've been together all weekend, going across again their last lap flag. And to our leader on his final approach, the 377 factory Rockstar Husqvarna. Purcell looks great, Fabs. He looks like the Purcell that we saw early in the season. Little loose, crafty as ever. To the podium we go.
Welcome back, race fans. What a dynamic day of MX1 racing we've had here at Riverglade. Alessi with that Triple Crown. That's $1,200 in the old jeans.
To the Yamaha leaderboard, top 10, second MX1. Let's go down to Cade Clayson in 7th, Wentland in 8th, Keelan Meston in 9th, and Tim Trombley rounding out your top 10.
An icon of the sport, the 377, Christophe Porcel, and the strength of 2-1. Christophe, you took the overall today on a pretty tough track and some fast riders. Some redemption after last weekend, I would say.
It's crazy, but we're going to finish it off
Nothing
strong.
I can do about last weekend, but we moved on, regrouped for this race, and I'm happy we got the overall. The track was pretty tough today, very fast. And,
my buddy Cooler over here.
I knew it was gonna be tough for me, but I really pushed Sakamoto and put it together. So pretty happy about today for sure.
Thank you.
Maintaining the red plate. Out of today, Matt Gerke going 1-2. Gerke, feels good to win a moto. I know you wanted to win that second one. Maybe a little bit of damage control. Did you kind of let Porcel have it there, knowing you had the points lead?
Well, he was riding good, and once I got into second, I was trying to run him down, and then I just made a bunch of mistakes, and I couldn't. So then I was like, I better back it off and just stay safe. I didn't feel great out there that
great
moto.
to have you on top of the box, Christophe. So
still was able to come away with second. Yeah, we're good with the points.
To the points in the MX1 class after 8 of 10, Gerke and Purcell swap wins, and the gap is still at 19. Alessi and Fasciati are tied for 3rd. Then it's Medallia, Epstein, Chisholm, Tim Trombley, Cade Clayson, and Keelan Meston.
To a good-looking podium, Sabian symbols made right here in New Brunswick. Top 3 on the day. Remember to like the CMRC MX Facebook page and go to mxnationals.ca for all the goodness.
You have been watching the 2017 Rockstar Energy Drink Motocross Nationals, presented by Motovan.com, Canada's source for power sports parts and accessories. And hats off to Tyler Medallia for winning the Brian House Award. And thanks very much to the Deuce, Larry, and Lee. It's been a great weekend, boys. We'll see you in Deschambault, Quebec.